So what is the ASP.NET Web API? It is fairly well named. It's an API that allows you to build web or HTTP-based endpoints, both client and server endpoints, on top of ASP.NET. Now, if you've been following this space for a while, the space being HTTP programming and the .NET framework, most of the client-side HTTP-based programming model has been built into System.NET, and the server-side HTTP programming model, at least when we're talking about services versus serving up HTML, has been handled by Windows Communication Foundation, or WCF. In the first version of WCF, there really wasn't much in terms of real HTTP-based endpoints. We could build SOAP-based endpoints, but SOAP really isn't built to take advantage of many of the features of HTTP, things like caching and other compression, other HTTP-based features. So it wasn't until WCF sort of 2.0, which came out with .NET 3.5, had additional web programming or HTTP programming models and a framework. And that was a pretty good framework for building many sort of simple HTTP-based endpoints. But it turned out to be fairly limited. It was kind of limited from one point of view because it was still very much embedded with the WCF and the WCF way of doing things, which was, although flexible, still sort of highly geared towards SOAP in many ways. And so what happened is that the WCF team went off to build sort of a new version of their HTTP-based programming stack. And for various reasons, it just made the most sense to Microsoft to merge the HTTP that now has this routing capability, which allows more flexible URIs, which was one of the things that some people didn't like about the WCF programming model. So with ASP.NET MVC4, you can use the server-side programming model to essentially build HTTP-based endpoints. It's not really linked to NVC so much, although there's a lot of similarity with NVC. You can use the ASP.NET Web API in a Web Forms project, in an NVC project. You can download it and make it available to your projects via NuGet, which is a nice way of making sure you have the most recent versions of everything and maintaining the right versions of assemblies between different clients. And again, it also includes a new HTTP client. The whole programming model really is flexible, very extensible, and really geared towards if you want to build just a very straightforward HTTP endpoint, or if you want to consume HTTP-based endpoints, the server and client are both there, essentially to help you do that in a much more structured way and a much more flexible way.